This is the TJ Hoisington Podcast. Unleash your greatness within.
Hi there. I want to talk to you about happiness for the next couple minutes. And I was at a meeting tonight and I was deeply moved at that meeting. And as I was driving home, even though it's 10 o'clock at night right now, I thought I'm going to jump in the studio. I'm going to record this quick message, and there's not much preparation involved, so I'm truly going to speak from my heart. You know, when I was a boy, money was often tight. I remember there were 8 kids in my family, and my dad was in the military, and oftentimes the money was tight. And I remember one Christmas was a little smaller than the others, and I was embarrassed to go to school without being able to show that I got something new over the holidays. And so I remember I took these old loafers that I had, and they were gray and I loved them. They were comfortable. And I thought, I'm gonna make them look brand new. I'm gonna paint them with latex white paint, and I'm gonna have a brand new pair of white shoes. I'm gonna wear them to school, and then I'm gonna be able to say, yeah, I got these brand new shoes. And that's exactly what I did. Until I looked down halfway through the day, and I noticed the latex white paint was cracking, and there was dirt and dust collecting in the crack, and those shoes looked horrible. I had destroyed those shoes, and I was embarrassed. I remember that bothered me, and I remembered later, as a teenager, I would write many goals down, and I found an old list of goals, and I noticed that the last goal on that list was to one day have nice clothes. And so I made that one of my goals, to have nice clothes. And then I remember I was doing some research years later, and I heard someone say, things are soulless. Let me say it again. Things are soulless. Now, when I heard that, it seemed to ring true, but there was no meaning behind it. And so I sort of just put it in the back of my mind. And then I went through those 5 years of building my business years ago. Those first 5 years were painful. They were humbling. They were tough. Sometimes I didn't know when I looked down that tunnel if that was a train coming toward me or if that was the end of the tunnel. I mean, it was a painful 5 years, but I grew a lot in those 5 years. 5 years went by. In my darkest moment, I wrote my first book. To make a long story short, that book became a bestseller, and it seemed like almost overnight. Here we were living in the basement of my parents' house, and almost overnight, my world literally changed overnight. I was speaking all over the world. Book sales were happening. The money was coming in. It was awesome. You know, I remember on a couple of occasions over the years earlier, I remember pulling up to speaking engagements in that old Camry we had, going in and talking about high achievers and success, only to walk out to my car with the CEO or the vice president who invited me to speak and see me walk to my poor little car. And I remember feeling at multiple occasions how embarrassing that was. So I told my wife that, hey, at some point we're gonna need to buy a new car. And so we went to the dealership. I had researched for about a week or two the exact car that I wanted. I had decided I wanted a Mercedes. I wanted a white Mercedes, and I wanted a cream color interior. That's what I wanted ultimately. And so I had it in my mind. We went to the Mercedes dealership, and you know what? The car was sitting right there. I looked at it, my heart moved. I knew that that was my car. My wife and I got in it, we drove it. We knew that it was our car. I told my wife, let's go ahead and get it. We went into the car dealership. When we sat down, we pulled out our checkbook. I wrote a check for the price of the car. And I remember that night, my wife drove the car we came with. She drove that home. I drove the brand new Mercedes home. Woo, never been driven before. I tell you what, I was driving home and I felt like I was the king of the world. Well, after about a week of feeling like I was the king of the world, the thought came to me, TJ, things are soulless. And as I started to think about that, I realized as the novelty of that new car wore off, and I realized that it was just a car that took expensive gasoline, that it was just a car. It took me where I needed to go, but that's it. It was just a car. It was just a thing. And I realized, after about a week of feeling like, hey, I'm the king of the world, I realized true happiness doesn't come through things. True fulfillment doesn't come from the things of our life. Now listen, I love nice things. I love the fact that I have VIP access into areas. I love the fact that I sit first class on airplanes. I love the fact that I can go to nice restaurants. I love the fact that I'm able to do and travel around the world. I love my, Mont Blanc pens. I love my watches. I love those things. But listen to what I'm saying. Those things don't bring long-term happiness. Okay? Those things are great, they're convenient, they're pleasurable, but pleasurable in the moment. They do not bring long-lasting fulfillment and peace. And that's my message for you. When you think about where true happiness, true fulfillment comes from, it comes from things that are much more important and closer to you. It comes from the people you love. It comes from your God. It comes from your friends, your family. That is where true happiness comes from. Just think about the last time you felt peace. Who were you with? What were you doing? Think about the last time your heart swelled and you felt moved. Who were you with? Think about the last time you felt fearful or you felt, moments of discouragement and someone brought you comfort or comforted you. Who were you with? Think about the last time you were happy. Who were you with? That's where true happiness and fulfillment comes from, is living the good life, living a life in alignment with your values. That will make the difference in your life, not all the toys that we acquire in life. I love those things just like the next person. But in the end, I know that they only bring me temporary happiness. And that's what I want to impress on your mind. I'm all about, reaching for the stars and achieving all that you're capable of achieving. But here's a little caveat with that I feel strongly about. And that is, make sure that you go after your dreams in such a way that it includes the rest of your family. I know what it's like to have people that you love and who love you leave you. Not my wife and not my children, but people in my extended family. I know what it's like to have pain in my life. I know what it's like to have failures and have to struggle to bounce back. I don't know where I have found you today, but what I do know is that if you will momentarily suspend reality, get outside yourself for just a moment and look out toward others with an effort of wanting to lift their lives, of blessing their lives, of benefiting their lives. There's the law of reciprocity, and that is what comes around goes around, which means it's sort of said this way, right? That if you want something bad enough, if you will first give it away, you will get it tenfold in return. I have found that to be true. And so if you have pain or frustrations in your life, step back and give that thing that you want more of. And you will be blessed, and you will find not only fulfillment in your life, you will find long-lasting happiness, and most importantly, peace. Peace, be still. When you are doing the right things, when you're willing to change a generation of challenges because of your desire to be a better person, then the world changes. Seek for goodness. Have humility. Be quick to forgive and to forget. And lastly, tell those people that you love them. Actually verbalize it. It's one thing to hug someone. It's one thing to give them a wink. But make sure that you say it. Words are powerful. And words can build and words can destroy. And unsaid words can also destroy. Okay, my hope for you is that going forward, that you'll look at your world a little differently, that you will reach for the more important things, the higher values in life, and you will find that you'll be more happy, more peaceful, and more fulfilled. Okay, I hope this was useful for you. I hope that it was a good reminder as I just kind of spoke from my heart. All right, enough for tonight. I'm about to go to bed. All right, I hope you have a good day today, and I look forward to seeing you on my next lesson. All right, bye for now. Podcast listeners, thanks for listening. You've taken time out of your schedule, and I really appreciate it. Now do me a favor. If you like what you heard, star it. Thanks. Now go unleash your greatness within.
GreatnessWithin.com